Camping and tunneling. Two words that you'll hear a lot in Dead by Daylight. You could be having a merry old time playing killer. You get a 3k and the last one gets a hatch. Then the post game chat comes up. You give your GG well played, and suddenly you're being accused of camping or tunneling, or sometimes both. It seems like players have difficulty even understanding what this term means anymore. So what do they mean? Hello everyone, I'm SnoopFox, and today I want to ask the question, what even is camping and tunneling? Before we start, if you like this video, please give it a like. And if you'd like to see more of my content, feel free to subscribe and hit that notification bell. I'd appreciate it very much. We'll start with what I define as camping first, because camping isn't unique to Dead by Daylight, or even the killer side. Though for the most part, camping in Dead by Daylight is when you hook a survivor, you find a nice cozy spot, pitch up a tent, grab your marshmallows, and just don't move. Killers will do this for a number of reasons. One is the most obvious. You want to prevent that survivor from getting rescued. It's a little harder to accomplish this now due to the built-in anti-camp survivors have, as long as there are generators to complete. If a killer is too close to the hooked survivor, a meter starts to fill. Once full, said survivor can unhook themselves, even in the second stage. Fair to say, however, that this is fairly easy to circumvent. You can just stand further away so the bar no longer fills, then move in as the survivor gets close. If another survivor is nearby that hooked survivor, that bar no longer fills. Remember this for later. Tunneling. Tunneling is often paired with camping, but not all the time. Once a survivor gets unhooked, you ignore the survivor who rescued them and pick on the weaker, already injured survivor that is closest to being taken out of the game. Why would a killer do this? Some people would have you believe they do it just to be a jerk. This can be the case, but usually it isn't. Killers will do this because it works. Being able to take a survivor out of the game quickly massively improves the killer's chances to win that match, especially if survivors just play into it. Let's take an example. If the cannibal wants to camp and tunnel, there is nothing the survivor can do about it. Bubba is just outright one of the best campers in the game. But even for any killer, people hate being camped and people hate being tunneled. It's a fair point on the survivor side. It's just outright not fun to be caught with your pants down in a dead zone and then spend the rest of the game on a hook until the entity claims you. Anyone who has played Survivor has been camped or tunneled at some point. Another reason killers may camp or tunnel is because they need the pressure it creates. This only works if the survivors play into you, but let's say you've lost 3 generators and you've only just gotten your first down. Chances are this isn't a 12 hook game. Killers can pull it back in other ways, sure, but camping and tunneling is by far the easiest. Again, assuming survivors don't just ignore their teammates and do generators. There's ways to counter this kind of playstyle. The most popular would be Decisive Strike, but this video isn't how to counter it. I just want to know what it is. Every so often, I get a post-game lobby accusing me of doing these things, when far too often, I've never actually done this. So let's go over what I think camping and tunneling is not. You are not camping if a survivor is on the hook between a few generators you have left to patrol. I'm not going to go out of my way to pass by a hooked survivor if they're in between objectives. Expecting me to do that is absurd. This is not camping, this is just a strategic placement of where you hooked a survivor, or an unfortunate circumstance for that survivor. If another survivor is looping you next to the hooked survivor, there is a reason the built-in anti-camp doesn't work when another survivor is close. To some degree, a survivor chooses where a chase takes place, because they're the one being chased. If you choose to use the shack to loop while your friend is in the basement that is just below them, I'm not camping them, and I'm sure as hell ain't gonna leave. I have 2 of you right here, and probably another one on the way. If you want the killer to leave, you have to leave the hooked area. That is your responsibility, not the killer's. When the exit gates are powered, the built-in anti-camp actually turns off. It does this because at this point, the killer actually has nothing else they can do. I mean, they can, but they'd be making a bad choice doing it, most of the time. Your only other option is to try and catch someone at an exit gate, or on the way to it, and hook them. But you'd just be trading at that point, unless they're on death hook. But you can't really know this is going to happen, and this in itself is a risk. If a killer wants to be a killer, they're going to secure that one kill. Like it or not, this is camping, but you really have no right to complain now. The whole game has played out, so the survivors got to do their thing, and the killer just outright has nothing else they can do. Survivors like to quote, 99 the exit gates, so when they do want to escape, it's just a tap and they're out. Once a killer has recognized a survivor has done this, even if an exit gate is 99'd or open, they really cannot do anything else. If they want that kill, they have to secure it. So that's what I think camping isn't. So what about tunneling? What is not tunneling? I believe the lines will be much more likely to get blurred here. Tunneling is not by chance finding the same survivor twice. If you have had time to be healed, find a generator, work on that, find a chest, find a totem, you are not being tunneled. It can suck to feeling like you're the only one that's being found, but you can't seriously expect a killer to just ignore you. You are not being tunneled if you get hunt hooked and then immediately sit on a generator 10 feet away. No matter how far or close the killer was at this time, if you have started progress on your objective as a survivor, you have given up your tunnel card. This also goes for unhooking someone else. Sometimes a killer may have 2 hooks in a close area. If the first unhooked survivor then goes and unhooks the second, you're not being tunneled because you have progressed the game. If a survivor is being chased and decides to unhook you, you can use your base kit borrowed time to body block that hit. Or just body block in general, preventing the killer from even being able to get to the unhooking survivor. If you do this, you've given up your tunnel card. You are leaving the killer without a choice. You can't claim they're tunneling you if you're making it happen. Whenever this happens to me, I will actively say you're surrendering your tunnel card, because they are. What am I supposed to do? Just walk away from their perfectly good injured survivor that is determined to be in the way? Gosh no, if you're going to offer yourself, I'll happily take it. I will say this, doing this is sometimes the right call for the survivors. If the unhooker is on death hook, but the one who just got unhooked has only been hooked once, protecting the other one is the right thing to do. You're being hooked again, which is much less detrimental to your team than your teammate dying on the hook. So I don't actually have a problem with body blocking in itself like this. The issue is when they do this and then whine at me for it. And I think the most delusional accusation of tunneling I've ever had is if a killer hooks a survivor, finds someone else, hooks them, but then you find the original survivor again. I'm not tunneling that person, I have hooked someone else in between you. Basically, if you've been afforded the breathing room to heal yourself, work on a generator, find an item, unhook a teammate, you are not being tunneled. I really don't understand how the word has escalated to the point that it has. So much worse than camping. I've been accused of tunneling 3 survivors in a single match. How the hell am I tunneling 3 people at once? Take into account, this was an 11 hook game with 1 getting the hatch. Sure, I found one of them first, and then there were also my second hook, but that wasn't due to me tunneling them off the hook. I was chasing someone else, then gave up that chase, and found the first survivor I hooked. That survivor was also the last one to be sacrificed. The survivor rulebook is getting out of hand. Entitlement in Dead by Daylight is becoming more and more of an issue. People throw the camping and tunneling terms around so much they've actually lost their meaning. Camping and tunneling isn't even that bad. Decisive Strike just got buffed, anti-camp is a base kit thing, borrowed time is base kit. Now, don't get me twisted, entitlement is definitely on the killer side too. I just get sick of entitled survivors coming at me at the endgame chat, or worse, coming to my stream chat to tell me how bad I am and that I should unalive myself for something I didn't even do. Even if I did camp or tunnel, it's not an excuse to say those type of things. Camping and tunneling, the correct terminology of it, is a strategy. You cannot tell someone else how to play their game. Your fun is not their responsibility, and the same goes both ways. I'm rambling a little bit off topic here, but a quote, bully squad, doesn't need to care about the killer's fun either. But this is just my thoughts on what camping and tunneling actually is. Do you agree? Are the terms being lost on us? Is the survivor rulebook getting out of hand? Am I just a terrible person and should just uninstall? Am I talking out of my tail end? Let me know in the comments below. Well, that's all from me. Until next time, take care of each other and be safe. Goodbye for now.